Hello guys, welcome to Fictional Vortex. So in this video, we will see what if Naruto was a godly vessel for all tailed beasts and 10 commandments Naruto x Hinata x Derieri. If you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to show us some love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support means the world to us. Now, let's start the story. Chapter 1, Convergence of Realms. The sky split open like someone had taken a kunai to reality itself. Naruto Uzumaki stood frozen in the middle of Konoha's main street, his blue eyes fixed on the impossible tear hanging in the atmosphere above the Hokage monument. Everyone around him had stopped too, civilians, shinobi, even the birds seemed to hover in place. The massive purple-black gash pulsed with energy, sending visible shockwaves rippling through the air. What the hell is that? Naruto muttered, feeling Kurama stirring inside him, the nine tails suddenly alert and, afraid. Something comes. Something we have never felt before. Before Naruto could process Kurama's warning, the rift expanded with a thunderous boom. 8 distinct orbs of chakra, each a different color, shot from the tear like comets, streaking directly toward him. Everyone get back, he shouted, pushing civilians away as he leapt to an empty training ground. Whatever was happening, he couldn't let others get hurt. The chakra orbs circled him, moving faster and faster until they formed a perfect ring. With sudden clarity, Naruto realized what they were. The other tailed beasts. But how? His question died as all 8 orbs slammed into his body simultaneously. Pain unlike anything he'd ever experienced tore through him. Inside his mindscape, Kurama roared. They're being forced in. All of them. This isn't possible. Naruto fell to his knees, his skin glowing with visible chakra networks as 8 new voices joined Kurama in his head: Shikaku's manic laughter, Matatabi's feline growl, Isabu's deep rumble, Son Goku's proud declarations, Kokuo's gentle wisdom, Saiken's bubbly confusion, Komiai's excited buzzing, and Gyuki's analytical observations. Make it stop, Naruto gasped, clutching his head. The cacophony was unbearable. Quiet. Kurama roared inside him, momentarily silencing the others. The boy can't hear himself think. The momentary silence gave Naruto enough clarity to notice something else was happening. The tear in the sky had changed color, now glowing bright gold. From it descended a single figure, a woman with long orange-brown hair, falling unconscious toward the ground. Despite his pain, Naruto moved instinctively. Shadow clones appeared without a hand sign, forming a chain to catch the falling woman. As the original Naruto struggled to stay conscious, the clones managed to catch her and bring her safely to the ground beside him. She was unlike anyone he'd ever seen, muscular yet feminine, with strange markings across her body and a darkness to her chakra that felt different. Not evil, but alien. The woman's eyes snapped open. Dark orange irises locked onto his face with immediate hostility. She moved with incredible speed, flipping from her prone position to pin him to the ground, one hand at his throat. "Where am I?" she demanded. "What have you done?" "I didn't," Naruto started, but another wave of pain cut him off as the tear in the sky pulsed again. 10 golden lights emerged this time, streaking directly toward them. The woman's eyes widened in recognition and fear. The commandments. No. Before either could react, the golden light struck them both. 5 entered Naruto, burning strange symbols into his skin like living tattoos. The other 5 struck the woman, who screamed in agony as similar marks appeared on her body. The sky sealed itself with a final thunderclap, leaving Konoha in stunned silence. Naruto's world dissolved into chaos. 17 different voices now warred in his mind, 9 bestial and ancient, 5 new ones speaking in languages he didn't understand, and his own consciousness trying desperately to maintain control. His body burned from within, power unlike anything he'd ever known threatening to tear him apart from the inside. The woman collapsed beside him, similarly overwhelmed. Their eyes met briefly, both recognizing the shared torment. Then everything went black. His chakra network shouldn't be able to handle this. It's impossible. And yet here we are, Sakura. 9-tailed beasts and, whatever these other entities are. Naruto recognized Sakura's voice, followed by Kakashi's. He tried to open his eyes but found even that simple action required immense concentration. His body felt wrong, too hot, too cold, too heavy, too light, all at once. What about the woman? Her chakra is unlike anything I've seen before. A third voice, Tsunade. That meant he was probably in the hospital. She's stable but still unconscious. The markings on her body seem to be the same type as 5 of the ones on Naruto. The other 5 he has are different somehow. Naruto finally managed to force his eyes open, immediately regretting it as the hospital light seared his retinas with painful intensity. Everything was too bright, too loud, too much. He's awake. Sakura's voice hammered into his skull. Not so loud, Naruto whispered, his throat raw. Everything's amplified. Tsunade appeared in his field of vision, her expression a mixture of concern and scientific curiosity. Naruto, you've been unconscious for 3 days. Your body is changing. The tailed beasts, he managed. All of them. They're inside me now. And something else. 10 commandments. The new voice came from the doorway. The strange woman stood there, leaning heavily against the frame. She looked terrible, pale and exhausted, but her eyes burned with intensity. You, Naruto said, memories of their brief encounter returning. Who are you? Derieri. Former member of the 10 Commandments. Now apparently sharing them with you. Her eyes narrowed. You should be dead. No human could survive what's inside you now. Naruto managed a weak smile. Yeah, I get that a lot. This isn't a joke, Derieri snapped, taking an unsteady step into the room. The commandments alone have destroyed anyone who tried to absorb more than one. You have 5, plus 9 of these, beast things. Tailed beasts, Kakashi corrected calmly, though his visible eye watched her carefully. And Naruto has always been special. Derieri snorted. Special or not, he's a ticking bomb. We both are. Inside Naruto's mind, the voices had settled somewhat, organizing themselves. Kurama seemed to have established some sort of hierarchy with the other tailed beasts, while the 5 new presences remained separate, watching, evaluating. The fox is right, a cold, analytical voice observed. This boy is unique. His body is adapting. Fascinating, another new voice mused. A perfect vessel after all this time. They're talking to each other, Naruto said aloud, drawing everyone's attention. The commandments and the tailed beasts. They're figuring things out. Derieri's eyes widened. You can hear them distinctly. Already? Before Naruto could answer, the hospital room door burst open again. Hinata Hyuga stood there, breathing hard, clearly having run the whole way. Naruto-kun. Her lavender eyes filled with relief at seeing him awake, then confusion as she noticed Derieri. I felt something change. Your chakra spiked just now. Felt it from where? Tsunade asked sharply. The Hyuga compound, Hinata answered, her eyes not leaving Naruto. It's like nothing I've ever sensed before. Naruto tried to sit up, managing it only with considerable effort. Hinata, you shouldn't be here. I don't know if I'm safe. Hinata moved to his bedside without hesitation, activating her Byakugan as she approached. She gasped. Your chakra network, it's completely transformed. The pathways have multiplied, interwoven. And there are 19 distinct chakra signatures. Her eyes widened further. How is that possible? 19. Derieri moved closer, suddenly interested in Hinata. You can see them individually. Hinata nodded, still staring at Naruto with her Byakugan. 9 large animal-like chakras, all connected to his original blue chakra. 5 golden energies that seem to be, writing themselves into his cells. And 5 more similar golden energies that connect to. She turned to look at Derieri. To you. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. This changes things, Derieri finally said. Your eyes could be useful, girl. Hinata straightened, meeting Derieri's intimidating gaze without flinching. My name is Hinata Hyuga. And I'll help Naruto-kun however I can. Something shifted in Derieri's expression, a flicker of respect, perhaps. She nodded once. We need somewhere isolated, Naruto said suddenly, feeling the energies inside him fluctuating dangerously. Away from people. I need to figure out what's happening to me before someone gets hurt. The forest of death is empty right now, Kakashi suggested. No exams scheduled for months. I'm coming with you, Derieri declared, not a request but a statement of fact. As am I, Hinata added firmly. Naruto looked between them, feeling something strange, a connection, a resonance between his new powers and both women. With Hinata, it was like a calming balm, her presence somehow soothing the chaos inside him. With Derieri, it was different, her presence amplified certain aspects of his new power while dampening others, creating a curious balance. Okay, he agreed, swinging his legs over the side of the bed. The three of us will figure this out together. The forest of death lived up to its ominous name, massive trees blocking sunlight, oversized predators lurking in shadows, and an oppressive atmosphere that kept most people away. For Naruto's purposes, it was perfect. They found a clearing large enough for training but small enough to remain hidden from casual observers. Naruto stood in the center, his body still adjusting to the overwhelming power coursing through it. Hinata and Derieri positioned themselves at opposite edges of the clearing, watching him carefully. I need to establish control, Naruto said, closing his eyes. One at a time. Inside his mindscape, he found himself in a massive chamber, an expanded version of the space where he used to meet Kurama. Now, however, all 9-tailed beasts were present, watching him with varying expressions of curiosity, suspicion, and concern. This is unprecedented, Gyuki, the 8 tails, rumbled. It shouldn't be possible, Shikaku added, his manic eyes narrowing. Yet here we are. Kurama stepped forward. The boy has always defied expectations. His body is adapting rapidly. But what about them? Naruto asked, pointing to a separate area of the chamber where 5 glowing golden figures stood apart. They appeared humanoid but composed entirely of golden light, with symbols etched into their forms. The commandments, Matatabi hissed. They are not of our world. Naruto approached the golden figures cautiously. Unlike the tailed beasts, who projected clear personalities, these entities seemed more conceptual, principles given form rather than true individuals. What are you? He asked directly. The central figure, bearing a symbol that resembled the character for truth, spoke in a voice that resonated through Naruto's entire being. We are commandments. Divine laws made manifest. I am truth. Beside me stand purity, reticence, patience, and faith. Why are you here? Why me? The barriers between realms weakened. We sought vessels. You were, compatible. Extraordinary. A perfect host for divine power. And the other 5? The ones inside Derieri. Love, selflessness, pacifism, piety, and repose. She was their vessel before. The connection remains. This information swirled in Naruto's mind as he tried to make sense of it all. Can I use your power safely? The truth commandment seemed to pulse brighter. Perhaps. With training. With balance. We are not like the beasts, we do not lend chakra. We transform what already exists. We rewrite reality according to our nature. And if I lose control, then you become divine law incarnate. No longer human. No longer yourself. The warning sent a chill through Naruto. He turned back to the tailed beasts. I need to master this. All of it. Fast. Kurama nodded. Begin with us. We are familiar. Then, one commandment at a time. Naruto opened his eyes, returning to the physical world where only seconds had passed. Both Hinata and Derieri watched him expectantly. I'm going to try something, he said. Hinata, I need you to watch what happens to my chakra and tell me if anything looks dangerous. She nodded, Byakugan already active. Derieri, if I lose control. He met her fierce gaze steadily. I'll knock you out, she promised without hesitation. Though it might take some doing with what you've got inside you now. Naruto took a deep breath and reached for Shikaku's power first. Sand began to rise from the ground around him, swirling in increasingly complex patterns. He added Matatabi's blue flames, then Isabu's water, creating a spectacular display of elemental control. Your chakra network is holding stable, Hinata reported, her voice filled with wonder. It's actually becoming more organized as you use each power. Encouraged, Naruto added more, Son Goku's lava, Kokuo's steam, Saiken's acid, Komiai's scaled powder, Gyuki's ink, and finally Kurama's pure chakra manifestation. The clearing lit up with 9 distinct types of energy, all dancing around Naruto in perfect harmony. This is... Derieri seemed at a loss for words. I've never seen anything like it. It's beautiful, Hinata whispered. Naruto smiled, feeling more confident now. Let's try one of the commandments. He reached for the simplest one first, patience. Immediately, he felt a strange shift. The world seemed to slow around him, his perception accelerating beyond human capability. He moved, covering the 50 feet to Hinata's side in what felt to him like a casual walk but appeared to the others as nearly instantaneous teleportation. What the... Derieri started. Patience allows me to move through time differently, Naruto explained, surprised at how instinctively he understood the power. Not faster exactly, but, more efficiently. No wasted movement or time. He tested another, purity. His body began to glow with golden light, and when he touched a nearby dead tree, it instantly rejuvenated, leaves sprouting from barren branches. That's... Hinata stared in amazement. Purification, Derieri supplied, her expression thoughtful. Removing decay, corruption, poison. Naruto tried the third, reticence. Suddenly, all sound in the clearing vanished. He could see Hinata's lips moving but heard nothing. A moment later, he released the power, and sound rushed back. Couldn't hear anything. Hinata was saying. Reticence controls sound and communication, Naruto explained. I can silence areas or prevent certain types of information from being shared. Next came faith. When Naruto activated this commandment, both Hinata and Derieri gasped. According to their descriptions later, he had briefly appeared as a being of pure light with multiple wings, an angelic form that inspired absolute trust and belief. Finally, Naruto reached for truth, the most complex of his commandments. The moment he touched this power, pain shot through his eyes. When it cleared, he found he could see everything. Lies appeared as black smoke around people. Truths glowed golden. Hidden things became visible. Distant events could be witnessed. Your eyes! Hinata exclaimed. They're golden with black pupils. Like a reversed Byakugan. Naruto released the truth power with effort. That one's intense. Reveals too much at once. As the demonstration ended, Naruto felt unexpectedly stable. The powers were immense, but his body was adapting rapidly, his chakra network expanding and restructuring to accommodate the new energies. You shouldn't be able to do any of that without extensive training, Derieri observed, arms crossed. It took me years to master even one commandment. Naruto-kun has always learned quickly, Hinata said with quiet pride. Especially physical techniques. It's more than that, Derieri insisted. The commandments are reshaping him, and these beasts are allowing it to happen. Her eyes narrowed. Why? Before they could discuss further, an explosion rocked the forest to the north. Seconds later, another blast followed, closer this time. Something's attacking the village, Naruto said, his enhanced senses picking up distant screams and the clash of weapons. He looked at Hinata and Derieri. We need to go. Derieri scowled. This isn't my fight or my world. Maybe not, Naruto replied, but those commandments inside you make you part of whatever's happening. The timing's too convenient. She couldn't argue with that logic. With reluctance clear in every movement, she nodded her agreement. Stay close to me, Naruto told them, drawing on patience again to enhance his perception and movement. I don't know what we're facing, but I doubt it's coincidence. They arrived at Konoha's northern gate to find chaos. Strange creatures, humanoid but with molten, shifting features, poured through a smaller version of the rift that had appeared earlier. Konoha's shinobi fought valiantly, but the creatures seemed nearly impervious to normal attacks. Demons, Derieri hissed in recognition. Lower-level ones from my world. Can they be killed? Naruto asked, already moving to intercept a group approaching a fallen shinobi. Yes. Decapitation works. Or destroying their cores. She pointed to the glowing red centers visible in their chests. Naruto nodded, instantly forming 50 shadow clones without a hand sign. The clones dispersed among the demons, each wielding combined chakra from multiple tailed beasts. Where normal jutsu had failed, the enhanced attacks tore through the creatures like paper. Hinata moved with graceful precision, her gentle fist strikes targeted directly at the demons' cores, each hit causing them to collapse into ash. Her Byakugan allowed her to see the cores even when they shifted position inside the creatures' bodies. Derieri, despite her initial reluctance, fought with frightening efficiency. Her punches literally disintegrated the demons they connected with, each successive strike growing stronger in a technique she called Combo Star. The three of them carved a path through the demon horde, moving in perfect synchronization despite never having fought together before. Naruto realized they were instinctively forming a triangle formation, covering each other's blind spots and supporting each other's attacks. Behind you, he shouted to Derieri as a larger demon emerged from the shadows. She spun, already throwing a punch, but the demon caught her fist. It grinned with too many teeth. Commandment bearer, it growled in a guttural voice. The master wants you back. Tell your master to go to hell, Derieri snarled, breaking free and leaping back. The demon laughed. Oh, he's quite comfortable there. But he misses his pets. Naruto appeared beside Derieri in an instant, golden chakra flaring around him. She's not going anywhere she doesn't want to go. The demon's eyes widened as it sensed the power within Naruto. What are you? Good question, Naruto replied with a dangerous grin. Let's find out. He combined Kurama's chakra with the truth commandment, creating a golden-orange energy that shaped itself into a massive fox-like avatar around him. Unlike his usual chakra cloak, this one had eyes that shone with divine light, and symbols of truth etched across its form. That's not possible, the demon whispered, backing away. The commandments can't cooperate with other powers. Maybe they just needed the right vessel, Naruto replied, voice echoing with multiple harmonics as the tailed beasts and commandments spoke through him. He moved faster than most eyes could track, the truth-enhanced chakra claw piercing straight through the demon's core. It didn't just kill the creature, it erased it, the demon dissolving into golden particles that scattered on the wind. The remaining demons retreated, some diving back through the small rift, others simply fleeing into the forest. As quickly as it had started, the attack was over. Naruto released his chakra avatar, feeling strangely energized rather than depleted. Around him, injured shinobi stared in awe and confusion. Kakashi appeared beside them, his uniform torn and dirty from battle. Well, that was impressive. Care to explain what just happened? Those creatures are from my world, Derieri said before Naruto could answer. Demons serving the Demon King. They came for the commandments. And you are? This is Derieri, Naruto introduced her. She came through the rift with the commandments. She has 5, I have the other 5. Kakashi's visible eye moved between them thoughtfully. And that connection allowed you to fight so effectively together? Naruto hadn't considered that, but it made sense. The commandments in him seemed to resonate with those in Derieri, creating an instinctive combat synchronization. I think so, he agreed. And Hinata's Byakugan lets her see how all the energies interact. Hinata stepped closer, her battle stance relaxed but still alert. The creatures had similar energy signatures to Derieri-san, but corrupted somehow. Demon clan energy, Derieri confirmed. I am, part of that clan. But the commandments changed me. This revelation surprised Naruto. You're a demon. You look human. So do you, despite what's inside you, she countered. Appearances mean little. Fair point, Naruto conceded silently. We should report to Lady Tsunade, Kakashi suggested, eyeing the dissipating rift with concern. That's the second time the barrier between worlds has broken. I doubt it will be the last. The Hokage's office was crowded with Konoha's top shinobi, all gathered to discuss the unprecedented events. Tsunade sat behind her desk, fingers steepled as she listened to reports. When Naruto, Hinata, and Derieri entered, all eyes turned to them. I hear you 3 put on quite a show, Tsunade said, her amber eyes sharp with assessment. Particularly you, Naruto. Multiple elemental manipulations simultaneously, impossible speed, and some kind of truth perception. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck, a habitual gesture that felt oddly normal despite how abnormal he'd become. Still figuring it all out, Granny Tsunade. Don't call me, she started automatically, then sighed. At least that part of you hasn't changed. Lady Hokage, Shikamaru spoke up from where he leaned against the wall. Based on witness accounts and what little we know of these commandments, I think we need to consider both the threats and opportunities this presents. Opportunities? Derieri asked skeptically. Shikamaru fixed her with his calculating gaze. You're from this other world. You understand these demons and the powers involved. That makes you valuable, regardless of your origins. Derieri's eyes narrowed, but she didn't disagree. The more pressing concern, Tsunade said, is whether more attacks will follow, and what these demons want. They want the commandments, Derieri stated flatly. The Demon King's power was broken when they were removed from him. He'll stop at nothing to get them back. And if he succeeds? Kakashi asked. Then your world burns, just like mine did. The blunt statement hung in the air, chilling everyone present. Naruto stepped forward. That's not going to happen. These powers ended up with us for a reason. We'll figure out how to use them, and we'll protect Konoha. Such confidence, a new voice purred from the shadows. Everyone tensed as a figure materialized from darkness in the corner, a tall, elegant man with pale skin and eyes like black pits. He wore armor of a design no one recognized, adorned with skulls and arcane symbols. Who the hell are you? Tsunade demanded, already on her feet. The intruder bowed with mocking formality. Zeldris, at your service. Commander of the 10 Commandments, son of the Demon King, and brother to our dear Derieri's former commander. Derieri's face contorted with rage. Zeldris. You betrayed us all. I remained loyal to my father, unlike you traitors, he replied coolly. His dark eyes fixed on Naruto. So you're the anomaly, the human vessel who somehow contains both the beasts of this world and 5 commandments. Fascinating. Naruto stepped protectively in front of Hinata and Derieri. What do you want? Currently. Just information. Zeldris smiled, revealing pointed teeth. The barriers between worlds are weakening. Soon, passage will be simple. My father is very interested in this world of ninjas and their, what do you call it? Chakra. Tell your father he's not welcome here, Naruto growled, feeling all 14 entities inside him stirring with anger. Zeldris laughed. Oh, I doubt that will deter him. Especially when this world contains such excellent vessels. His gaze shifted to Hinata. Like this one. Her eyes show such potential. Naruto's anger flared, golden chakra spontaneously manifesting around him. Stay away from her. Or what? You can barely control what's inside you. Zeldris raised a hand, darkness gathering around it. Let me demonstrate the difference between us. The darkness shot forward not toward Naruto, but toward Hinata. Without conscious thought, Naruto activated both patience and faith simultaneously. Time slowed to a crawl from his perspective, allowing him to move Hinata safely aside, while faith created a barrier of pure belief that the attack couldn't penetrate. Zeldris's eyes widened slightly, the first genuine reaction he'd shown. 2 commandments at once, working in harmony. Impossible. That's getting to be a familiar word around here, Naruto replied, golden eyes gleaming. Inside him, the commandments and tailed beasts were fully awake now, their power flowing through him in unified purpose. Derieri moved to Naruto's side, her own commandments manifesting as golden markings across her skin. You always were arrogant, Zeldris. You've miscalculated. Have I? He smirked. Or have I confirmed exactly what I came to learn? His form began to dissolve into shadow. We'll meet again soon. Father will be most interested in my report. Stop him. Tsunade ordered, but Zeldris had already disappeared, leaving only lingering darkness that quickly dissipated. The room erupted into urgent conversation, strategies being formed and orders given for village defense. Through it all, Naruto remained still, processing what had just happened. He had used 2 commandments simultaneously, something Derieri had implied was impossible. Not only that, but he had done it instinctively, without conscious planning. The powers had responded to his emotions, his need to protect Hinata. You okay? He asked her softly. Hinata nodded, though her face was pale. I'm fine. But Naruto-kun. When you used those powers together, your chakra network changed again. It's becoming something I've never seen before. Is that bad? I don't know, she admitted. But it's definitely not human anymore. Those words should have disturbed him more than they did. Instead, Naruto felt a strange acceptance. He'd never been fully human anyway, not with Kurama inside him since birth. This was just, more of the same, in a way. As long as I'm still me inside, does it matter? He asked. Hinata's expression softened. No. You'll always be Naruto-kun to me, no matter what form you take. Her simple acceptance warmed something inside him. He turned to find Derieri watching them with an unreadable expression. You know more about these commandments than I do, he said to her. Is what I did really impossible? It should be, she replied. The commandments are opposing forces by nature. They balance each other but don't cooperate. Yet you made them work together seamlessly. Her eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Your beasts might be the key. They create a network for the commandments to interact through. Tsunade interrupted their conversation. Whatever the explanation, we need to prepare. Naruto, Hinata, Derieri, I'm forming a special unit under your command. Your mission is to understand these new powers and develop strategies against these demons. Under my command? Naruto echoed, surprised. You contain most of the power we're dealing with, Tsunade pointed out practically. And despite your changes, you're still a Konoha shinobi with a proven track record of the impossible. Naruto looked at Hinata, who nodded encouragingly, then at Derieri, who gave a reluctant shrug of acceptance. All right, he agreed. But we do this my way. No treating Derieri like an outsider or prisoner. And no experiments on any of us without consent. Fair terms, Tsunade agreed. Now, I suggest you three get some rest. Based on today's events, I doubt you'll get much in the coming days. Naruto's apartment felt simultaneously too small and too empty as he entered it that evening. His enhanced senses made every creak of the floorboards, every drip of the faucet seem deafening. The scents of instant ramen, laundry soap, and dust hung in the air like visible things. He had offered Derieri his couch, given her lack of accommodation in this world. After initial reluctance, she had accepted, recognizing the practicality of staying close to the person who shared her unique condition. It's not much, he apologized as she examined the small living space. But it's home. I've slept in worse places, she replied simply, dropping onto the couch and testing its softness. This will do. An awkward silence fell between them. Despite their connection through the commandments, they were still strangers from different worlds. Are you hungry? Naruto asked finally. I don't have much, but, a knock at the door interrupted him. When he opened it, Hinata stood there with several bags of groceries. I thought you might need supplies, she explained, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. Especially with a guest. The simple thoughtfulness of the gesture touched Naruto deeply. That's awesome, Hinata. Come in. Hinata entered, nodding politely to Derieri before heading to the kitchen area to unpack the food. Naruto watched her move with familiar efficiency around his kitchen, realizing how many times she must have noticed his habits and preferences to know exactly where everything belonged. You two are close, Derieri observed quietly beside him. Hinata's always been there for me, Naruto replied, watching as Hinata began preparing a simple meal. Sometimes I wonder if I deserve it. Derieri's expression was contemplative. The love commandment inside me responds to her. It recognizes genuine emotion. Naruto glanced at her, surprised. Really? Don't act so shocked. Even demons understand love, though many reject it as weakness. Her eyes followed Hinata's movements. Her love for you is, unusually pure. Untainted by selfishness or conditions. Something warm unfurled in Naruto's chest at those words. He'd always known Hinata cared for him, but hearing it confirmed by a literal embodiment of love was different. I should help her, he said, moving toward the kitchen. To his surprise, Derieri followed. Show me what to do. If I'm staying here, I'll contribute. The three of them worked together preparing dinner, an oddly domestic scene given the circumstances. Derieri proved surprisingly adept with a knife, chopping vegetables with ruthless efficiency. Hinata guided them both gently, her natural grace in the kitchen creating order from chaos. As they sat down to eat, Naruto found himself studying both women. Hinata with her quiet strength and unwavering loyalty. Derieri with her fierce independence and blunt honesty. So different, yet both now inextricably linked to his fate. We should discuss training, Derieri said after finishing her meal. These powers need mastery, quickly. Agreed, Naruto nodded. But there's something I don't understand. Why did the commandments split between us? Why not all 10 to one person? Derieri frowned thoughtfully. The commandments seek balance. 5 and 5 creates symmetry. But more importantly, she hesitated. They may have recognized something in each of us that resonated with their nature. What do you mean? Hinata asked. The commandments I bear, love, selflessness, pacifism, piety, and repose, they reflect aspects of who I've become, especially after rejecting the Demon King's path. Derieri's expression darkened with memory. And yours, Naruto, truth, purity, reticence, patience, and faith, they align with your core nature as I've observed it. Naruto considered this. It made sense in a way. Despite his boisterous exterior, he had always valued truth and maintained faith in others. Patience he'd learned through hardship, and his desire to help others stemmed from a belief in purity of purpose. And how do the tailed beasts fit into this? Hinata wondered. They don't, by any normal logic, Derieri admitted. In my world, such a combination would be impossible. Different types of magic typically reject each other. Inside Naruto's mindscape, Kurama rumbled in amusement. Normal logic has never applied to this kit. Kurama says normal logic never applied to me anyway, Naruto relayed with a grin. Hinata smiled softly. He's not wrong. There's something else, Derieri said, her tone growing serious. Zeldra's appearance means the Demon King knows about this world now. About you, Naruto. And about. Her eyes shifted to Hinata. Me? Hinata asked, surprised. He noticed your eyes. The Byakugan. Derieri leaned forward. In my world, special. Eyes often indicate immense magical potential. If the Demon King believes your eyes could help him regain power, he'll target Hinata, Naruto finished, a protective edge entering his voice. Among others with bloodline traits, probably, Derieri agreed. Your world is full of humans with abilities demons would consider valuable. The implications were chilling. Not just Hinata, but the Uchiha, the Nara, all clans with hereditary abilities could become targets. Then we need to be ready, Naruto stated firmly. Starting tomorrow, we train together. All three of us. Why me? Hinata asked. I don't have your powers. Because your Byakugan can see how our powers work, Naruto explained. And because. He hesitated, then committed to honesty. Because I need you there. You keep me grounded, Hinata. Human. Hinata's cheeks flushed pink at his words, but her expression was determined. Then I'll be there. Derieri observed their exchange with that same unreadable expression from earlier. The three of us, then. Starting at dawn. As their evening concluded and Hinata prepared to leave, Naruto walked her to the door. Before she left, she surprised him by taking his hand. Naruto-kun, she said softly. No matter what changes happen, your heart remains the same. That's what matters most. With those words, she departed, leaving Naruto touched by her unwavering faith in him. When he returned to the living room, he found Derieri arranging blankets on the couch. She's right, you know, Derieri commented without looking up. Power changes most people, but your core seems remarkably stable. Thanks. I think. Derieri finally looked at him, her orange eyes intense. It wasn't a compliment or criticism. Just an observation. She paused. In my experience, power reveals what was always there. Some become monsters because they always were monsters inside. Others. Others rise to the occasion. Become better versions of themselves. She shrugged. We'll see which you are. With that ambiguous statement, she turned away, clearly ending the conversation. Naruto retreated to his bedroom, mind spinning with the day's events. As he lay in bed, the voices inside him had settled into a strange harmony. The tailed beasts communed with each other in familiar ways, while the commandments remained more abstract, their presence felt rather than heard. You should sleep, Kurama advised. Tomorrow begins a new chapter for all of us. I know, Naruto murmured. I just hope I'm ready for it. You never have been before, Kurama replied with sardonic humor. Yet here we are. Despite everything, Naruto smiled at that. True enough. He'd never been ready for any of the challenges life had thrown at him, not the loneliness of childhood, not the truth about the Nine Tails, not the Akatsuki, not becoming a sage. Yet somehow, he'd faced them all and emerged stronger. This would be no different. With Hinata's grounding presence and Derieri's practical knowledge, plus the collective wisdom of 14 ancient entities inside him, he would find a way forward. As sleep claimed him, Naruto's last conscious thought was a simple promise: whatever power flowed through him now, he would use it to protect those he loved. That, at least, would never change. Dawn broke with unnatural swiftness, the sky transitioning from black to brilliant orange in minutes rather than the usual gradual lightning. Naruto stood at his window, instantly alert despite minimal sleep, and recognized the phenomenon for what it was, another weakening of the barrier between worlds. "They're coming again," the truth commandment whispered in his mind. But different this time. Scouts. Watchers. Derieri appeared beside him, having sensed the same disturbance. "You feel it?" "Yeah. Not an invasion yet. They're testing the boundaries." She nodded grimly. "Learning the terrain before a full assault. Classic demon tactics." A soft knock at the door announced Hinata's arrival. When Naruto opened it, he found her already in combat gear, Byakugan activated. "Strange chakra signatures are appearing throughout the village," she reported without preamble. "Small ones, hiding in shadows. I counted 17 so far." "Imps," Derieri confirmed. "The Demon King's eyes and ears. Nearly invisible to normal senses, but your eyes see them." "Can they hurt people?" Naruto asked, already forming a plan. "Not directly, they're too weak. But they can sabotage, steal information, plant seeds of darkness in dreams." Derieri's expression darkened. "And they report everything back to their master." Naruto cracked his knuckles. "Then we start our training by hunting imps. Hinata can spot them, I can flush them out, and you can tell us the best way to destroy them." "Efficient," Derieri approved. "But we need to be subtle. If the Demon King realizes we're targeting his spies specifically, he'll just send different ones." "I have an idea for that," Naruto grinned. "We'll make it look like routine training that just happens to catch them in the crossfire." The plan formed quickly. They would begin apparent training exercises in different parts of the village, focusing on areas where Hinata detected imps. Naruto would use reticence to prevent the imps from communicating with their master during the training accidents that eliminated them. Their first target was near the academy, where 3 imps lurked in the shadows of the training grounds. To any observer, it appeared that Naruto was simply practicing chakra control exercises with his new powers while Derieri and Hinata sparred nearby. In reality, Hinata's sparring positions consistently placed Derieri in the perfect spot to, accidentally, strike at the hiding imps each time Naruto's reticence field blocked their communications. One by one, the small demons dissolved into ash without ever realizing they were the targets. They continued this pattern across Konoha, their training eliminating 14 imps by midday. The remaining 3 had noticed the disappearance of their brethren and retreated to higher, more difficult positions, one atop the Hokage monument, one inside the ANBU headquarters, and one within the Hyuga compound. "These will be trickier," Hinata noted as they paused for lunch at Ichiraka Ramen. Naruto slurped his noodles thoughtfully. "Maybe we don't need to get them all. Maybe we feed them specific information instead." Derieri raised an eyebrow. "Disinformation? Not a bad strategy. What kind of information would be useful to plant?" Hinata wondered. Naruto's eyes gleamed with mischief and strategy. "How about we let them see me struggling to control the powers? Make the Demon King think I'm weaker than I am." "That could work," Derieri nodded slowly. "If he believes you're vulnerable, he might rush his plans before you master the commandments." "And a rushed enemy makes mistakes," Hinata finished. After lunch, they staged an elaborate training accident near the Hokage monument where Naruto appeared to lose control of the truth commandment, its power backlashing visibly. In reality, he was in perfect control, but the performance was convincing enough that the watching imp immediately departed through a tiny rift, presumably to report this weakness. "One down," Naruto grinned. "Now for ANBU HQ." That one proved more challenging due to the security measures in place. They needed Kakashi's cooperation, which he provided after hearing their plan. The accident this time involved Derieri appearing to argue with Naruto about the dangerous instability of combining tailed beasts with commandments, loud enough for the hiding imp to overhear. You're going to kill yourself and everyone around you if you keep pushing too fast. Derieri shouted convincingly. I don't have a choice. Naruto yelled back. The attacks are coming whether I'm ready or not. Their staged argument ended with another controlled slip of power, this one making it seem like the patience commandment was fighting against Kurama's influence. The ANBU imp took the bait, slipping away to report. You two are surprisingly good actors, Hinata commented as they left. Spend enough time in battle and you learn to bluff, Derieri shrugged. The final imp, hiding within the Hyuga compound, required Hinata to take the lead. She brought Naruto and Derieri as guests, introducing them to her father Hayashi with formal politeness. During a demonstration of their powers, supposedly for Hayashi's assessment, Naruto deliberately showed a lack of finesse with faith and purity, making it appear that combining them caused him pain. Hayashi, who had been briefed on their true purpose, played his part perfectly. If you cannot control these powers more precisely, Uzumaki, you pose a danger to Konoha. I'm trying, Naruto responded with feigned frustration. It's not like there's a manual for this. The hidden imp absorbed every word before vanishing through another tiny rift. That should give the Demon King something to think about, Naruto said with satisfaction once they were alone in the Hyuga training grounds. Now comes the real training, Derieri reminded him. We fed them lies, but we need to make sure they stay lies. You need actual mastery, not just the appearance of it. Naruto nodded, his expression turning serious. Let's get started then. For the remainder of the day, they trained in earnest. Naruto worked on controlling each commandment individually, then in careful combinations. Derieri did the same with her five, their practice occasionally synchronized to test how their respective powers interacted. Hinata's Byakugan proved invaluable, allowing her to see exactly how the chakra and commandment energies flowed through their networks. She could identify blockages, conflicts, and harmonies that neither Naruto nor Derieri could feel subjectively. Try channeling Kurama's chakra through your right side while activating truth on your left, she suggested at one point. They're complementary frequencies. To everyone's surprise, this worked perfectly. The truth commandment amplified the honesty in Kurama's raw emotional power, while Kurama's chakra gave truth a physical manifestation it couldn't achieve alone. How did you know that would work? Derieri asked, genuinely impressed. Hinata blushed slightly. I can see the resonance patterns in the chakra. It's like matching musical notes. Some create harmony, others discord. This insight changed their approach entirely. Instead of treating the tailed beasts and commandments as separate power sources to be used alternately, they began exploring specific combinations that enhanced each other. By sunset, Naruto had developed several reliable combinations, truth with Kurama for penetrating vision that could see through deception. Patience with Gyuki for strategic time manipulation. Purity with Komiai for healing enhanced by positive transformation. Faith with Son Goku for attacks that burned through demonic corruption. Reticence with Saiken for stealth operations enhanced by acid traps. Derieri likewise found that her love commandment worked seamlessly with Naruto's Matatabi-based flame techniques, creating fire that burned demons but healed allies. Her selflessness enhanced Shikaku's defensive sand, creating barriers that adapted to protect the most vulnerable person present. As darkness fell, all three collapsed onto the grass, exhausted but satisfied with their progress. Not bad for day one, Derieri admitted, staring up at the stars. We make a good team, Naruto agreed, his hands behind his head. Hinata sat between them, still occasionally activating her Byakugan to check their chakra networks. Your systems are adapting remarkably fast. The connections between different power sources are becoming permanent pathways. Is that good or bad? Naruto asked. Good for power control, she replied. But. She hesitated. But I'm becoming something else permanently, Naruto finished for her. Less human with each new connection. Yes, she admitted quietly. Naruto sat up, looking at his hands. They appeared normal, but he could feel the truth of her observation. His body was changing at a fundamental level, adapting to house powers no human was meant to contain. "Does it scare you?" he asked Hinata softly. She met his gaze steadily. "No. Because no matter what you become physically, your heart remains human. That's what matters." Derieri made a small sound that might have been agreement or skepticism. When they looked at her, she shrugged. "Humanity is overrated anyway. In my world, demons, goddesses, giants, fairies, they all loved and hated, fought and protected. Species meant little compared to choices." Her words carried the weight of personal experience, and Naruto wondered about her past. What had led someone like her to become part of the 10 Commandments? What had she lost and gained along the way? Before he could ask, a familiar chakra signature approached. Kakashi appeared at the edge of the training ground, his casual demeanor belied by the tension in his shoulders. "Dinner's over," he announced. "We have uninvited guests at the main gate. Important ones, based on the reception committee they brought." All three were immediately on their feet. "How many?" Naruto asked. 6 humanoid figures of significant power, plus about 50 lesser demons, Kakashi reported. "They're just standing there, requesting to speak with, and I quote, the vessel of divided commandments and his companions." Naruto exchanged glances with Derieri, who had gone pale. Derieri? Who would come with that kind of escort? "The 10 Commandments," she whispered. "The original bearers, before the Demon King absorbed them." "But that's impossible, they were all destroyed or absorbed." "Apparently not," Kakashi said grimly. "Because they've named themselves as exactly that. The 10 Commandments, here to reclaim what's theirs." Naruto's eyes hardened with resolve. "Then let's not keep them waiting." Chapter 2, Voices of Power. The walk to Konoha's main gate felt like the longest of Naruto's life. Every step brought them closer to a confrontation with beings who once wielded the very powers now embedded in his and Derieri's bodies. The night air buzzed with tension, and even the usual sounds of the village seemed muted, as if Konoha itself held its breath. "What should we expect?" Naruto asked Derieri as they moved swiftly across rooftops. "Trouble," she replied grimly. "The original commandment bearers were chosen for their power and loyalty to the Demon King. If they're here..." She trailed off, her expression darkening. "They shouldn't be here at all," Hinata observed, Byakugan active and scanning ahead. "You said they were destroyed or absorbed." "They were." Derieri's tone left no room for doubt. "Which means either my information was wrong or something has changed the rules." Naruto felt the entities within him stirring with unease. The tailed beasts were alert but relatively calm, they'd faced powerful enemies before. The commandments, however, radiated a strange mixture of recognition and alarm. "Our original vessel's approach," the truth commandment whispered in his mind. "But wrong. Corrupted. Hollow. Hollow." Naruto repeated aloud, drawing curious glances from the others. "What?" Derieri asked sharply. "The commandments, mine anyway, they're saying the approaching bearers are hollow. Whatever that means." Derieri's eyes widened slightly. "You can hear them that clearly already? As distinct voices?" Naruto nodded. "Can't you?" "I get impressions. Feelings. Occasional words." She studied him with renewed interest. "Your connection is developing faster than mine ever did." They reached the roof of the guard station overlooking the main gate. Below, a contingent of Konoha's elite jonin formed the defensive line, with Tsunade herself standing at the center. Beyond the gate, illuminated by torches and moonlight, stood the visitors. 6 figures of distinct and imposing presence led the group. Behind them, lesser demons of various shapes and sizes shifted restlessly, their red eyes gleaming in the darkness. The contrast between the chaotic mass of lesser demons and the stillness of their leaders was striking. Which ones are the commandment bearers? Hinata whispered, her Byakugan taking in the scene. The 6 in front, Derieri confirmed. But something's wrong. I recognize them, but they're different. Naruto focused on the 6 figures. Each had a distinctive appearance, but all shared a certain emptiness in their eyes, a vacant quality that reminded him of Edo Tensei Resurrections. As if sensing his scrutiny, one of the 6, a tall figure with flowing silver hair and aristocratic features, looked directly up at their position and smiled coldly. They know we're here, Naruto said. No point hiding. He leapt down to join Tsunade, Hinata, and Derieri following close behind. The Hokage gave them a brief nod of acknowledgement. About time, she muttered. They're asking for you specifically and won't state their business to anyone else. We'll handle it, Naruto assured her, then stepped forward to address the visitors. The silver-haired figure moved forward to meet him, stopping just outside the gate. Up close, Naruto could see that his eyes were completely black, like empty voids. Naruto Uzumaki, the figure said, his voice unnaturally smooth. Vessel of 5 commandments and 9-tailed beasts. A curious combination. And you are? Naruto asked, though he suspected he already knew. The figure bowed with theatrical grace. Esterasa, bearer of the love commandment. Or rather. I was. His empty eyes shifted to Derieri. Until certain traitors scattered our powers across realms. Derieri's face contorted with rage. You're not Esterasa. You're a puppet wearing his face. Esterasa's smile never faltered. Perceptive as always, Derieri. We are, let's call us echoes. The Demon King has found ways to reconstitute us, though not quite as we were. Why are you here? Naruto demanded, feeling Kurama's chakra heating up inside him in response to the threat. To extend an invitation, Esterasa replied smoothly. The Demon King is most interested in meeting the being who can house such contradictory powers. He offers you a place at his side, Naruto Uzumaki. Imagine the knowledge he could share with you about your new abilities. And if I decline? Esterasa's smile widened, revealing too many teeth. Then we are instructed to retrieve the commandments by whatever means necessary. Your survival is, optional. The threat hung in the air like poison. Behind Esterasa, the other 5 former commandment bearers watched with those same empty eyes. The lesser demons behind them grew more agitated, clearly eager for violence. Naruto felt a familiar calm settle over him, the clarity that always came in moments of true danger. Here's my answer, he said evenly. Tell your king that the commandments have found new vessels. They're not his anymore. And if he wants them back. Naruto let Kurama's chakra flare visibly, orange energy swirling around him. Simultaneously, he activated the truth commandment, golden light tracing intricate patterns across his skin. He'll have to do better than sending hollow copies. Esterasa's smile vanished, replaced by cold fury. You mistake our appearance for weakness, boy. These forms may be constructs, but they house the full power and knowledge of the originals. He raised a hand, and darkness gathered around it, similar to what Zeldris had done, but on a larger scale. Perhaps a demonstration is in order. The darkness shot forward, not toward Naruto but toward the village behind him, a massive wave of corrupting energy aimed at civilian homes. Before Naruto could react, Derieri was already moving. She leapt into the path of the attack, her own commandments activating. Love commandment, absolute protection. Golden light erupted from her body, forming a barrier that caught and absorbed Esterasa's darkness. The collision of powers sent shockwaves rippling through the air, cracking the ground beneath them. Impossible, Esterasa hissed. You cannot wield love against me. I am its original bearer. You're a copy, Derieri spat. The commandment recognizes the difference. While they faced off, Naruto sensed movement from the other 5. They were spreading out, preparing to attack from multiple angles. He caught Hinata's eye, and she nodded in understanding, having seen the same with her Byakugan. "Tsunade-sama," Naruto said quickly, "get everyone back. This is about to get messy." The Hokage nodded sharply, ordering the defensive line to fall back and establish a perimeter. As they retreated, Naruto created a dozen shadow clones that moved to intercept the advancing commandment bearers. "Derieri," he called, "who are we dealing with besides Esterasa?" She pointed to each figure in turn, not taking her eyes off Esterasa. Monspeet, Gloxinia, Droll, Grey Road, and Fraudrin. Fire, plant manipulation, earth, death curses, and possession, respectively. And their weaknesses? They didn't have many when they were alive, she replied grimly. As constructs? Unknown. Naruto processed this, formulating a plan. "Hinata, can you see anything unusual about their chakra structure?" Hinata's Byakugan intensified as she studied the 6 figures. "They're hollow, like you said. Their chakra shells are powerful, but there's an emptiness at their core. And thin threads of energy connecting them to something far away. Puppet strings," Naruto realized. "Someone's controlling them remotely." Esterasa applauded mockingly. "Very good. Your eyes are as remarkable as reported, Hyuga Princess. Yes, we are extensions of the Demon King's will. Cut the strings, and we simply reform. You cannot defeat us permanently." "Maybe not," Naruto acknowledged. "But I bet we can send you back with a message." He closed his eyes briefly, diving into his mindscape where the tailed beasts and commandments waited. "I need your help," he told them. "All of you. Working together." The tailed beasts rumbled their assent immediately. The commandments hesitated, then the truth stepped forward. "The hollow vessels are abominations. We will assist." Back in the physical world, barely a second had passed. Naruto opened his eyes, which now glowed with combined power, orange from Kurama, gold from truth, and his own blue determination creating a unique tricolored effect. "Hinata, Derieri, stay close to me," he instructed, voice resonating with multiple harmonics. "We move as one." Without waiting for Esterasa's next attack, Naruto charged forward. Power unlike anything he'd experienced before coursed through him, all 9 tailed beasts channeling their chakra simultaneously while the 5 commandments directed and shaped it. The result was spectacular. A golden-orange avatar formed around him, similar to his normal chakra cloak but vastly more detailed. It combined aspects of all 9 beasts, Kurama's fox-like appearance. Dominated, but with Shikaku's markings, Matatabi's flames, Isabu's shell-like armor, Son Goku's fur patterns, Kokuo's horns, Saiken's bubbling textures, Komiai's wings, and Gyuki's tentacles. Throughout this composite form, golden commandment symbols pulsed with divine energy. Esterasa's empty eyes widened in genuine surprise. "Impossible. Such power should tear you apart." "I'm full of surprises," Naruto replied, then struck. The battle erupted in earnest. Esterasa met Naruto's charge with darkness that seemed to devour light itself. The other 5 constructs engaged simultaneously, each unleashing their signature abilities. Monspeet generated hellfire that burned black and purple, aiming it at Hinata. Gloxinia created massive thorny vines that erupted from the ground around them. Droll's earth manipulation raised stone walls and spikes in their path. Grey Road released swarms of cursed insects that brought death with a single touch. Fraudrin attempted to possess the shadow clones, turning them against their creator. Under normal circumstances, such a coordinated assault from 6 legendary beings would have overwhelmed even the strongest shinobi. But this was far from normal. Naruto moved with impossible speed, truth and patience working together to predict and intercept attacks before they landed. Hinata's enhanced Byakugan allowed her to see attack patterns seconds before they manifested, calling out warnings and openings. Derieri's combat experience with these specific opponents provided crucial tactical knowledge. Monspeet aims for blind spots. Watch your left. Droll's tremors precede major attacks. Jump now. Greyroad's insects can't cross purified ground. They fought as a perfect triangle formation, constantly rotating positions to cover each other. Naruto's avatar provided both offense and defense, its various bestial aspects responding to different threats. When Gloxinia's vines attempted to ensnare them, Matatabi's flames burned them away. When Droll's stone constructs attacked, Son Goku's lava techniques melted through them. For her part, Derieri fought with terrifying efficiency. Her commandments manifested differently than Naruto's. Rather than forming an avatar, they enhanced her physical abilities to godlike levels. Each strike of her combo star technique grew exponentially stronger, eventually shattering Fraudron's defensive barriers with a single punch. Hinata, despite lacking the raw power of her companions, proved equally vital. Her gentle fist strikes, guided by her Byakugan's perfect vision, targeted the energy threads connecting the constructs to their distant master. Each time she severed a connection, the corresponding construct temporarily weakened, creating openings for Naruto and Derieri to exploit. The lesser demons attempted to swarm them several times, only to be decimated by combination attacks. Naruto's reticence combined with Saiken's acid created bubbles of absolute silence that dissolved demons on contact. Derieri's selflessness merged with her combat experience to anticipate and counter demonic tactics before they fully formed. Through it all, Hinata maintained her position between them, her Byakugan tracking both the battle and the internal chakra networks of her companions. When Naruto's energies began to conflict, Shikaku and Gyuki momentarily fighting for dominance, she called it out immediately. Naruto-kun. Shikaku and Gyuki are destabilizing your right side. He adjusted instantly, redirecting chakra flows based on her guidance. This symbiotic relationship between them proved decisive as the battle intensified. Esterasa, recognizing the threat they posed together, attempted to separate them. His darkness formed tendrils that tried to drag Hinata away from the group. Naruto countered with faith, creating a golden tether between them that Esterasa's darkness couldn't break. Their coordination is their strength, Esterasa called to his companions. Target the Hyuga girl. Without her eyes, they'll fall apart. All 6 constructs immediately focused their attacks on Hinata. Naruto and Derieri moved instinctively to protect her, but the sheer volume of attacks made perfect defense impossible. A tendril of Monspeet's hellfire slipped past their guard, striking Hinata's shoulder. She cried out in pain, dropping to one knee. The hellfire wasn't just burning her physically, it seemed to be corrupting her chakra network, black veins spreading from the wound. Hinata. Naruto's shout held genuine fear. Something shifted inside him in that moment, a new resonance between his powers. Without conscious thought, he combined purity with Isabu's water and Komiai's healing scales, creating a golden blue light that enveloped Hinata completely. The corruption receded immediately, purged by the combined power. Hinata gasped as her chakra network cleared, the pain vanishing. When she stood again, her Byakugan seemed different, more defined, with golden flecks visible in the characteristic white eyes. "I'm okay," she assured him, her voice stronger than before. "But I can see more now. The connections between them, they all lead to a single point." She pointed to a space above the battlefield where the air seemed slightly distorted, almost imperceptibly warped. "There. A hidden portal. That's how the Demon King is controlling them." Naruto and Derieri followed her gaze, both now able to perceive the subtle distortion with their enhanced senses. "If we close that," Derieri began. "They lose their power source," Naruto finished. "But how?" Inside him, the truth commandment offered an answer. Truth dispels illusions. Faith severs false connections. Together, they can close the pathway. "Cover me," Naruto told his companions. "I need to concentrate." While Derieri and Hinata engaged the constructs directly, Naruto took a moment to focus. Combining truth and faith required perfect balance, too much of either would disrupt the effect. He carefully channeled both commandments through Kurama's chakra, using the Nine-Tails energy as a stabilizing medium. Golden light gathered between his hands, forming a sphere that resembled a Rasengan but composed entirely of divine energy. Naruto looked up at the hidden portal, truth allowing him to see its actual structure, a tear in reality itself, subtle but profound. "Seal," he shouted, throwing the sphere directly at the distortion. The moment it connected, reality itself seemed to shudder. The portal became fully visible as golden light traced its edges, then began to shrink rapidly. Esterasa and the other constructs cried out in unified pain as their connection to their master weakened. "You cannot," Esterasa began, but his voice distorted as the portal continued to close. The 6 constructs began to dissolve, their forms becoming unstable without the constant power influx from the Demon King. The lesser demons fared worse, simply disintegrating into ash as their animating force vanished. As the portal shrank to a pinpoint, Esterasa locked eyes with Naruto one final time. "This isn't over, Vessel. The king comes himself next time." With those ominous words, the portal closed completely, and the constructs collapsed into piles of dark matter that quickly evaporated. Silence fell over the battlefield. Konoha's defenders, who had watched the entire confrontation from a safe distance, slowly approached. Tsunade reached them first, her medical expertise immediately focusing on Hinata's shoulder despite the younger woman's insistence that she was healed. "What did you do?" Tsunade asked Naruto, examining the now unmarked skin where Hinata had been burned. "I'm not entirely sure," Naruto admitted. "The powers, they worked together automatically when I saw she was hurt." "Your chakra network underwent another transformation in that moment," Hinata told him, her enhanced Byakugan still active. "The pathways between your tailed beasts and commandments formed new connections. They're becoming a unified system." Derieri, who had been examining the spot where the portal had been, rejoined them. "I've never seen anyone close a demon realm portal before. That shouldn't have been possible." "You keep saying that," Naruto pointed out with a slight smile. "Because you keep doing impossible things," she retorted, though without real heat. Her eyes moved to Hinata. "Your eyes have changed." Hinata blinked in surprise. "Changed how?" "There's gold in them now. And they see more than they did before." Tsunade looked alarmed at this. "Exposure to these powers is affecting Hinata too. Is that dangerous?" "I don't think so," Hinata said thoughtfully. "It doesn't feel harmful. It's like my Byakugan has evolved somehow. I can see energies I couldn't perceive before." "The commandments recognize potential in her," Derieri explained. "They're enhancing what's already there." Naruto looked between his companions with growing concern. "I don't want either of you getting hurt because of me or these powers." "Too late for that," Derieri said bluntly. "We're all in this now, whether we chose it or not." Hinata's expression softened as she looked at Naruto. "And I would choose it again, Naruto-kun. We're stronger together than apart, we just proved that." Her quiet confidence soothed something in Naruto's chest. She was right, together, they had defeated 6 legendary beings who should have overwhelmed them individually. There was a synergy between them that multiplied their effectiveness. Tsunade cleared her throat. "As touching as this is, we have a village to secure. That attack may have been just the beginning." "She's right," Naruto acknowledged. "And we need to prepare for what Esterasa said, that the Demon King might come himself next time. If that happens," Derieri said grimly, "what we just faced will seem like a warm-up exercise." Dawn found Naruto sitting cross-legged on top of the Hokage monument, eyes closed in deep meditation. After the battle, he had retreated here to communicate with the entities within him. Questions needed answers, and those answers lay in the collective knowledge of his passengers. Inside his mindscape, the chamber had evolved again. What had once been a simple sewer reflecting his childhood neglect, then a cage holding Kurama, was now an impossible space, part ancient forest where the tailed beasts gathered, part celestial plain where the commandments resided. The two realms overlapped in places, creating areas where both divine and bestial energies coexisted. They're coming back, aren't they? Naruto asked the assembled beings. The Demon King won't give up. Kurama's massive form shifted, 9 tails swaying thoughtfully. No. If anything, your victory last night will only increase his interest. You've proven yourself a worthy prize. Prize? Naruto frowned. What does he really want? Just the commandments. The Truth Commandments golden form pulsed. More. Always more. The Demon King seeks absolute power. The commandments are merely tools for that end. Now he sees new potential, tailed beasts, chakra networks, bloodline abilities. A whole new world to conquer, Shikaku added, his manic eyes uncharacteristically serious. How do we stop him? Naruto asked. I can't keep fighting off his minions forever. You won't have to, the Faith Commandment responded. He will come himself eventually. Pride demands it. And when he does? How do I beat someone called the Demon King? The question hung in the impossible space. None of the beings had a simple answer. Together, Gyuki finally rumbled. None of us could stand against such power alone. But together, perhaps. The octopus is correct, Patience affirmed. Our strength multiplies through unity. The girl sees this truth with her evolved eyes. Naruto thought of Hinata and how her Byakugan had changed during the battle. What's happening to her? Is she in danger? She adapts, Purity explained. As you adapt. As the demon woman adapts. The three of you form a circuit of power. A circuit? I don't understand. You hold the beasts and 5 commandments, Truth elaborated. Derieri holds 5 complementary commandments. The Hyuga girl holds the sight that binds and balances. Together, a perfect triangle. The concept was both simple and profound. Naruto, Derieri, and Hinata completed each other in some fundamental way related to these powers. That explained the instinctive coordination in battle, the way they naturally protected each other's weaknesses. So we need to train together, Naruto concluded. Strengthen that connection. Yes, came the unified response from all 14 entities. But beware, reticence cautioned, speaking for the first time. As your powers grow together, so too will the attention you draw. The Demon King is not the only entity who will take notice. Others are coming too. The divine balance has shifted, Faith confirmed. Where darkness gathers, light will eventually respond. Great, Naruto muttered. More complications. Kurama chuckled, the sound rumbling through the mindscape. Did you expect godly power to come without godly problems, Kit? I guess not. Naruto sighed, then straightened with renewed determination. I should get back. Derieri and Hinata will be waiting. As he prepared to leave the mindscape, Matatabi spoke. Naruto, the Hyuga girl and the demon woman. Their feelings for you grow complex. Naruto paused. What do you mean? The cat means you're oblivious to the obvious, Shikaku cackled. Both females are increasingly attached to you. Hinata's my friend, Naruto protested. And Derieri barely tolerates me. The love commandment, which had remained silent until now, flared brightly. Though it resided in Derieri rather than Naruto, its essence was present enough in the mindscape to communicate. Love takes many forms, it whispered. Some obvious, some hidden. Some instant, some gradual. But all real. Before Naruto could respond to this cryptic statement, he felt a presence in the physical world approaching his meditation spot. He opened his eyes to find Hinata climbing the last few steps to the top of the monument. Sorry to disturb you, she said softly. Tsunade-sama called a council meeting. They're waiting for us. Naruto stretched, working out the stiffness from sitting still for hours. No problem. I was just finishing up. Hinata studied him with curious eyes, still her familiar lavender Byakugan eyes, but now with those subtle golden flecks. Were you speaking with them? The beings inside you? Yeah. Trying to understand what we're up against. He stood, noticing how the morning sunlight caught in her dark hair. How's your shoulder? Completely healed. She touched the spot where Monspeet's hellfire had struck her. Whatever you did, it didn't just heal the wound. It feels stronger than before. Naruto frowned slightly. The powers are affecting you. I'm worried about that. I'm not, she replied with surprising firmness. If it helps me stand by your side in this fight, I welcome the changes. Her quiet determination touched something deep in Naruto's chest. Hinata had always supported him, but there was a new confidence in her now, a strength that matched his own in a different way. As they made their way down from the monument, Naruto found himself studying her more carefully. Had her feelings for him grown complex, as Matatabi suggested? And what about Derieri, who maintained her gruff exterior but had fought beside him with perfect synchronization? The thought was both confusing and strangely warming. The council chamber was packed when they arrived. All of Konoha's clan heads were present, along with the elder advisors and ANBU commanders. Tsunade sat at the head of the table with Kakashi and Shikamaru flanking her. Derieri already waited in a corner, arms crossed and expression guarded. Now that everyone's here, Tsunade began. Once Naruto and Hinata were seated, we need to discuss last night's attack and what it means for Konoha. Shikamaru activated a projector displaying images of the battle. As you can see, these commandment bearers demonstrated abilities beyond anything in our experience. Without Naruto, Hinata, and Derieri's intervention, casualties would have been catastrophic. And we're supposed to just trust this demon woman? Danzo asked, his single visible eye fixed on Derieri with obvious suspicion. For all we know, she could be working with our enemies. Derieri met his gaze with equal distrust. If I wanted to help them, old man, I wouldn't have fought against my former comrades. Former comrades that shouldn't exist anymore, according to your own account, Hamura pointed out. Your information has proven unreliable. Or incomplete, Kakashi interjected smoothly. There's a difference between deliberate deception and limited knowledge. Tsunade raised a hand for silence. Arguing about trustworthiness gets us nowhere. The fact is, Derieri fought to protect Konoha. Her actions speak louder than our suspicions. What concerns me more, Hayashi Hyuga stated, is the effect these powers are having on my daughter. His stern gaze moved to Hinata. Your eyes have changed. The elders are disturbed by this development. My Byakugan functions better than ever, father, Hinata replied, meeting his gaze steadily. The changes have only enhanced our clan's abilities. But at what cost? Hayashi pressed. These powers come from another world entirely. We cannot know their long-term effects. Before Hinata could respond, Naruto spoke up. The changes aren't harmful. The commandments don't corrupt, they transform according to a person's true nature. Hinata's eyes changed because her desire to see and understand was already part of who she is. Hayashi seemed taken aback by this explanation, though not entirely convinced. And you know this how? I asked them, Naruto said simply. The commandments explained it to me. A murmur ran through the council. The idea that Naruto could communicate directly with these divine powers was both impressive and unsettling. What else have these entities told you? Shikaku Nara asked, his strategic mind already working through implications. That the Demon King won't stop, Naruto replied honestly. Last night was just a test. He's learning about our world, our abilities. And he wants more than just the commandments now. More. Tsunade leaned forward. Explain. Bloodline traits, chakra networks, tailed beasts, they're all new to him. New sources of power. Naruto looked around the table. Every clan with a special ability is potentially a target. This revelation sent another wave of concerned murmurs through the room. Clan heads exchanged worried glances as the implications sank in. "So what's our defense plan?" Some Inazuka demanded. "How do we protect our clans against a being from another dimension?" All eyes turned expectantly to Naruto, Derieri, and Hinata. Derieri spoke first, pushing away from the wall she'd been leaning against. "In my world, the Demon King's power was balanced by the Supreme Deity, a goddess of equal strength. They kept each other in check." "And where is this Supreme Deity now?" Koharu asked. "No idea," Derieri admitted. "But the commandments were originally her power, corrupted by the Demon King. That connection still exists. Which means," Naruto continued, picking up her train of thought, "there might be a way to use the commandments themselves as protection. If we can understand them fully, master them. We could create barriers against demonic influence," Hinata finished. "My enhanced Byakugan can see how the energies interact. With practice, I could identify vulnerabilities in clan compounds and help establish protections." Shikamaru nodded thoughtfully. "A three-phase approach, then. First, defense, using the commandments to create barriers around Konoha and clan compounds. Second, intelligence, learning everything we can about these demons and their abilities. Third, preparation, training specialized teams to combat demonic threats." "Who leads these efforts?" Danzo asked, his tone suggesting he already had opinions on the matter. "Naruto, Derieri, and Hinata will lead the defense and training initiatives," Tsunade stated firmly. "Shikamaru and Kakashi will coordinate intelligence gathering. I want daily progress reports." "There's something else you should know," Derieri added, her expression grave. "The Demon King doesn't just want power. He wants worship. Subjugation. In my world, humans became little more than batteries for demonic magic, living sacrifices to fuel their rituals." A chill fell over the room at this description. "That will not happen here," Tsunade declared, her voice hard with determination. "Konoha has faced extinction before. We've survived gods and monsters. We'll survive this too." The meeting concluded with assignments distributed and schedules established. As the council members filed out, Naruto noticed the calculating looks directed at him, Derieri, and Hinata, some fearful, others speculative, a few openly hostile. "They're afraid of us," he observed quietly. "Not without reason," Derieri replied. "What's inside us could level this village if we lost control." "We won't," Hinata said with quiet confidence. "The three of us balance each other." Kakashi approached them as the room emptied. "You should know, rumors are already spreading among the villagers. Stories about Naruto becoming a god, Hinata gaining divine sight, and a demon woman fighting alongside them." "Great," Naruto sighed. "Just what I need, more reasons for people to treat me differently." Actually, Kakashi's visible eye crinkled in what might have been a smile, most of the talk is positive. "Naruto the Protector. The divine guardian of Konoha. People saw how you three fought together to save them." Derieri snorted skeptically. "Give it time. Fear always wins in the end." "Not in Konoha," Hinata countered gently. "Not when it comes to Naruto-kun. People here have learned to look past their fear to see the truth." "We'll see," Derieri said, clearly unconvinced. "For now, we have work to do. Those barriers won't create themselves." The next several days fell into an intense rhythm. Mornings were dedicated to defense work, establishing protective barriers around Konoha using the combined properties of the commandments. Afternoons focused on training, both for themselves and for selected jonin who would form specialized demon response teams. Evenings were spent in deep communication with the entities within them, mining their knowledge for anything useful against the coming threat. Through it all, the three grew closer, their natural complementary dynamics strengthening with each passing day. On the fifth day, they stood atop the village wall, surveying their work. Golden energy lines now crisscrossed Konoha in a complex pattern, visible only to their enhanced perception and to those with specific sensory abilities. It's holding well, Hinata observed, her evolved Byakugan tracing the energy flows. The faith anchors at the 4 cardinal points are particularly strong. The truth verification loops are working too, Naruto added. Any demon trying to enter would trigger immediate detection. Derieri nodded in grudging approval. Better than I expected for less than a week's work. Your shinobi adapt quickly. It was true. Once the initial shock had worn off, Konoha's forces had embraced the challenge with impressive creativity. Ino's mind techniques proved remarkably effective at detecting demonic influence. Shikamaru's shadow binding worked well against creatures of darkness by exploiting their natural connections to shadow. Even Kiba and Akamaru had developed a new tracking technique specifically for demonic sense. We should test it, Derieri suggested. I can partially access my demon form. See if the barriers detect me. Are you sure? Naruto asked. The barriers might respond, aggressively. That's the point, she replied with a hint of a smile. No use having defenses if we don't know their limits. Without waiting for further discussion, Derieri leapt down from the wall to the forest outside. She took several deep breaths, then closed her eyes in concentration. Dark markings began spreading across her skin, different from the commandment symbols, more primal and raw. Her orange eyes gained a reddish tint, and small horns emerged from her forehead. Ready, she called up to them. Proceed, Hinata replied, Byakugan intensely focused on the barrier. Derieri approached the invisible perimeter slowly. The moment her partially transformed body touched the barrier, golden light flashed. Threads of energy wrapped around her limbs, neither harming nor repelling her but clearly identifying her demonic aspects. It's working, Naruto observed. The barrier recognizes the demonic energy but also identifies you as an authorized presence. Derieri tested further, pushing more of her demonic power to the surface. The barrier responded proportionally, more restraints appeared, but still recognized her core identity and allowed controlled passage. Impressive, she acknowledged, reverting to her normal form as she rejoined them atop the wall. Specific enough to distinguish between different types of demonic energy. That's better than anything we had in my world. It's the Byakugan integration, Hinata explained modestly. It allows the barrier to see intentions and identity, not just energy signatures. Naruto beamed at her. Your contribution made all the difference, Hinata. The commandments provide power, but your eyes give them precision. She blushed slightly at his praise, though her confidence had grown significantly in recent days. The changes to her eyes had brought subtle changes to her personality as well. She was more assertive, more willing to state her observations directly. The village is as protected as we can make it for now, Naruto concluded. Tomorrow we should expand the network to cover the training grounds and outer farms. First, food, Derieri declared. I'm starving after all that barrier work. Naruto's stomach rumbled in agreement. Ichiraku. Again. Derieri rolled her eyes, but there was no real annoyance in her tone. She had discovered a surprising appreciation for Tuchi's special spicy miso ramen. I could cook something at home, Hinata offered. I bought fresh ingredients yesterday. This suggestion was met with enthusiastic approval from both her companions. Hinata's cooking had quickly become a highlight of their days together. As they made their way through the village, Naruto noticed the changes in how people reacted to them. Where once there might have been fearful glances or whispered comments, now there were respectful nods and even occasional thanks. The trio had become familiar figures, the village's special defense team against an otherworldly threat. Naruto had moved to a larger apartment to accommodate Derieri's continued stay, and Hinata spent so much time there that it had become their unofficial headquarters. The space had quickly developed a lived-in feel that reflected their blended personalities, Naruto's casual messiness, Hinata's thoughtful organization, and Derieri's Spartan practicality somehow creating a harmonious whole. As Hinata prepared dinner, Naruto and Derieri sat at the table reviewing maps of the village outskirts where tomorrow's barrier extensions would be placed. We should prioritize the eastern approach, Derieri suggested, pointing to an area where the forest provided natural cover. Demons prefer shadows for their initial incursions. Naruto nodded in agreement, then paused, noticing how comfortable this domestic scene had become. Just weeks ago, Derieri had been a hostile stranger from another dimension. Now she was helping plan Konoha's defenses while waiting for Hinata to finish cooking dinner in his apartment. "What are you smiling about?" Derieri asked, catching his expression. "Just thinking about how weird life gets sometimes," he replied honestly. "A month ago, I was just a regular Jinchuriki with normal problems. Now I'm part god, working with a demon warrior and a Hyuga princess to stop an interdimensional invasion." Derieri snorted, but a small smile tugged at her lips. "If it makes you feel better, my life took an equally strange turn. I was dead, for all intents and purposes. Then suddenly I'm in a new world with half my powers given to some hyperactive ninja with whisker marks." "When you put it that way, it does sound ridiculous," Naruto laughed. From the kitchen, Hinata called, "Dinner's almost ready. Could one of you set the table?" As Naruto moved to help, a sudden sharp pain lanced through his head. He gasped, clutching his temples as images flashed before his eyes, visions granted by the truth commandment activating spontaneously. A massive tear in reality, larger than before. Armies of demons pouring through. A tall figure with massive horns and eyes like black holes. Konoha in flames. Naruto. Derieri was at his side instantly, supporting him as his knees buckled. Hinata rushed from the kitchen, Byakugan activating automatically. "What's happening?" she asked urgently, scanning his chakra network. "Vision," he managed through gritted teeth. "Truth is showing me, something's coming. Something big." The pain subsided as quickly as it had come, leaving Naruto shaken but clear-headed. He described the vision to his companions, whose expressions grew increasingly grave. "How soon?" Derieri asked, her voice tight with concern. "I don't know. It felt imminent. Maybe days, not weeks." "We need to tell Tsunade," Hinata said immediately. "And accelerate the barrier expansions. First, I need to consult with them." Naruto decided, referring to the entities within. "They might have more specific information." Derieri and Hinata nodded in understanding. This had become standard procedure. When new developments arose, Naruto would enter deep meditation to confer directly with the tailed beasts and commandments, whose collective knowledge far exceeded their own. "We'll finish preparing dinner while you do that," Hinata suggested. "You'll need your strength afterward." Naruto moved to the living room, sitting cross-legged on the floor. He closed his eyes, slowing his breathing as he sank into his mindscape. The internal realm had evolved further since his last visit. The forest where the tailed beasts gathered now featured 9 distinct territories reflecting their natural affinities. The celestial plane housing the commandments had developed 5 golden temples, each dedicated to a specific divine law. Between these realms, the overlapping areas had grown more defined, spaces where bestial and divine energies merged harmoniously. All 14 entities were already gathered in the central meeting area, clearly aware of the vision that had prompted Naruto's visit. "You saw it too," he stated rather than asked. "We did," truth confirmed. The veil between worlds thins rapidly. The Demon King gathers his forces for a major incursion. "When?" 3 days, Patience answered with uncharacteristic directness. "At the next celestial alignment." "Celestial alignment?" Naruto frowned. "What does that mean?" "Worlds move in cycles," Faith explained. "When they align, passage between them becomes easier. The Demon King has been waiting for this moment." Kurama's massive form shifted restlessly. "Even with our combined power, a direct confrontation with the Demon King would be dangerous." "Then what do we do?" Naruto asked. We can't evacuate an entire village. You don't need to defeat him, Matatabi suggested. Only drive him back and seal the passage. How? The barriers we've created are strong, but against the Demon King himself. The barriers are only part of the solution, Truth said. You need a seal. A divine seal. Naruto's interest sharpened. Sealing techniques were a fundamental part of shinobi arts, especially in his own heritage as an Uzumaki. What kind of seal? One that combines our power with your world's chakra principles, Reticence explained. A hybrid technique never before attempted. The girl with the golden eyes must design it, Purity added. Her vision can perceive the necessary patterns. Hinata? Yes. Her evolved Byakugan can see connections invisible to others. Even to us. And Derieri? What's her role? Balance, love answered from its partial presence in the mindscape. Her commandments complement yours. Together, you form two sides of a divine equation. The Hyuga girl solves it. The concept was complex yet elegantly simple. Naruto, with his 9 beasts and 5 commandments, represented one form of power. Derieri, with her 5 complementary commandments and demonic heritage, represented another. Hinata's evolved sight could perceive how these powers could interlock to create something greater than their sum. We'll need to work fast, Naruto said, already planning. Design the seal, test it, prepare deployment points around the village. Be warned, Kurama interrupted. This level of divine working will have consequences. For all 3 of you. What kind of consequences? The entities exchanged what might have been concerned glances, if such abstract beings could be said to have expressions. Transformation, Truth finally answered. The more you channel these powers, the more they change you. Already the Hyuga girl's eyes evolve. Already your body adapts. Already the demon woman's nature shifts. Into what? Naruto asked, suddenly apprehensive. That depends on your choices, Faith replied. Power reveals, it does not create. You become more truly yourselves, but magnified. Divinity merely accelerates the process. Not entirely reassured but recognizing the necessity, Naruto nodded. I'll talk to them. If they agree to the risks. They will, Love stated with certainty. Their devotion is already evident. With that ambiguous statement lingering in his thoughts, Naruto returned to consciousness. He opened his eyes to find Derieri and Hinata waiting patiently nearby, dinner temporarily forgotten. 3 days, he told them without preamble. The Demon King is coming through during something called a celestial alignment. The convergence, Derieri breathed, recognition dawning on her face. Of course. I should have realized. You know about this? Hinata asked. In my world, the convergence happens once every 1,000 years. It's when the realms of demons, goddesses, humans, and others come into perfect alignment. Barriers weaken, travel between worlds becomes possible even for ordinary beings. Her expression darkened. It's also when the greatest wars were fought. Great timing, Naruto muttered. The entities say we need to create a special seal. A hybrid between commandment power and shinobi techniques. Hinata, they say your eyes can see the pattern it needs to take. Hinata's evolved Byakugan activated as she considered this. I think I understand. I've been seeing strange patterns in the energy flows lately. Like, blueprints for something larger. They also said there would be consequences, Naruto continued, watching their reactions carefully. Creating and using this seal will accelerate the changes already happening to us. What kind of changes? Derieri asked sharply. They weren't specific. Just that we become more truly ourselves, but magnified. Hinata and Derieri exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them that Naruto couldn't quite interpret. I'm already changing, Hinata said finally. My eyes see things they shouldn't be able to see. Sometimes I dream in patterns of light that form perfect defensive geometries. She straightened her shoulders. If more changes come, I accept them. Derieri nodded in agreement. I left my old life behind when I came to this world. Whatever I become now, at least it will be my choice this time. Their ready acceptance both relieved and concerned Naruto. You're both sure? We don't know what magnified means in this context. Does it matter? Derieri asked bluntly. The alternative is letting the Demon King enter this world at full power. I've seen what happens then. Whatever the cost, stopping him is worth it. She's right, Hinata added softly. This is our path now, Naruto-kun. The three of us, together. Naruto looked between them, Hinata with her quiet strength and evolving eyes, Derieri with her fierce determination and pragmatic acceptance. Both willing to transform, to risk their very identities, to protect a world that in Derieri's case wasn't even hers originally. All right, he agreed finally. After dinner, we start designing the seal. Tomorrow we bring Tsunade and the others up to speed. They worked through the night, sleep forgotten in the urgency of their task. Hinata sat at the center of the living room, scrolls spread around her as her golden-flecked eyes traced invisible patterns in the air. Naruto and Derieri alternated between providing their unique energies for her to analyze and taking notes on her rapid-fire observations. The seal needs 5 anchor points, Hinata explained, her brush moving swiftly across a large scroll. 1 for each cardinal direction plus a central nexus. Each anchor must balance bestial and divine energies in perfect opposition. Naruto watched in amazement as she drew increasingly complex patterns, spirals reminiscent of Uzumaki sealing techniques but interwoven with commandment symbols and chakra flow markers unlike anything he'd seen before. This is beyond any sealing jutsu I've ever encountered, he remarked, recognizing bits of familiar techniques buried within wholly new structures. That's because it's not just a seal, Derieri observed, studying the emerging design. It's a divine contract. A rewriting of the rules governing dimensional boundaries. By dawn, the theoretical framework was complete. Hinata sat back, exhausted but satisfied, as Naruto and Derieri examined the final design. Will it work? Naruto asked. In theory, Hinata replied. But we need to test it on a smaller scale first. How? We can't exactly summon a practiced Demon King. Derieri stepped forward. We can test it on me. My demon form should trigger the seal's recognition systems without activating its full power. That could be dangerous for you, Hinata protested. Less dangerous than discovering flaws during the actual confrontation, Derieri countered pragmatically. Besides, the commandments I carry should provide some protection. They moved to a secluded training ground, well away from populated areas. Hinata quickly established a miniature version of the seal pattern, using the 3 of them as anchor points rather than the 5 the full version would require. Ready? She asked once everything was prepared. Derieri nodded, stepping into the center of the array. She closed her eyes in concentration, allowing her demonic nature to surface fully for the first time since arriving in this world. The transformation was impressive and somewhat alarming. Dark purple markings spread across her entire body, forming intricate patterns that pulsed with power. Her muscles became more defined, her fingers lengthened into claws, and horns emerged fully from her forehead. Most strikingly, a pair of dark wings unfurled from her back, composed of what appeared to be solidified darkness. That's quite a change, Naruto observed, momentarily taken aback. Despite her transformed appearance, Derieri's eyes remained the same, fierce and intelligent, clearly still herself despite the demonic attributes. Activate it, she instructed Hinata, her voice deeper but recognizable. Hinata nodded, channeling her chakra into the seal pattern. The lines began to glow, first with standard blue chakra, then shifting to purple as they responded to Derieri's demonic presence. Finally, as Naruto added his combined tailed beast and commandment energy, the pattern blazed golden. The effect was immediate and visible. Derieri's demonic form became contained within a golden lattice of energy that neither harmed her nor restricted her movement, but clearly established a boundary. When she tried to extend her darkness beyond the seal's perimeter, the energy flared brighter, preventing its passage. "It's working," Hinata confirmed, Byakugan analyzing the energy flows. "The seal recognizes demonic power and contains it without causing harm to the vessel." "How does it feel?" Naruto asked Derieri. "Restrictive but not painful," she replied, testing the boundaries with careful movements. "Like moving through thick water. I could break it with enough force, but not quickly or easily." "That's the point," Hinata explained. "It won't stop the Demon King completely, but it will slow him significantly. Give us time to implement the second phase." "Which is?" "Force dimensional reversion," Hinata said, pointing to a section of the seal design. "This component attempts to identify the entity's native dimension and create a pull back toward it. The stronger the entity, the stronger the pull." Derieri looked impressed. "You designed this overnight?" Hinata blushed slightly. "My eyes see the patterns now. It's like, they were always there, just waiting for someone to perceive them." They deactivated the test seal, and Derieri reverted to her human form, looking thoughtful. "The design is sound, but implementation will be challenging. We need 5 powerful chakra users to maintain the anchor points during the confrontation. And they need to be people whose chakra resonates with specific frequencies," Hinata added. "I can identify compatible individuals with my Byakugan." "Let's report to Tsunade," Naruto suggested. "We have a lot to prepare and not much time." The Hokage's reaction to their news was predictably grave. The senior staff was quickly assembled, and Hinata presented their findings and the seal design. Shikamaru, ever the strategist, immediately began analyzing potential deployment patterns across the village. "If we assume the incursion will target the center of Konoha for maximum impact," he reasoned, "we should position the anchor points at these locations." He marked 5 spots on the village map. Maximum coverage with minimal civilian exposure. "Who maintains the anchor points?" Tsunade asked. "This level of chakra work sounds intense." "We need 5 specific chakra types," Hinata explained. "I can identify suitable candidates by examining their chakra networks." Over the next few hours, Hinata tested dozens of Konoha's strongest shinobi, looking for specific resonance patterns that would complement the seal design. Eventually, 5 were selected: Kakashi, whose lightning affinity and Sharingan provided precise chakra control; Sakura, whose perfect chakra management offered stability; Shikamaru, whose shadow techniques naturally interfaced with interdimensional boundaries; Niji, whose Byakugan complemented Hinata's evolving abilities; and somewhat surprisingly, Irika, whose chakra exhibited an unusually pure harmonic pattern despite his average power levels. Training began immediately. While Hinata worked with the anchor team, Naruto and Derieri focused on preparing Konoha's combat forces for the specific challenges of fighting demonic entities. Specialized squads were formed, each designed to counter particular demonic abilities that Derieri described from her extensive experience. As evening fell on the first day of preparation, Naruto found himself atop the Hokage monument again, watching as golden barrier lines were reinforced across the village. Derieri joined him silently, her presence now familiar and oddly comforting. "Your ninja adapt quickly," she observed, echoing her comment from days earlier. "In my world, humans would be panicking at the mere mention of the Demon King." "We've faced our share of gods and monsters," Naruto replied with a shrug. "Kaguya wasn't so different from your Demon King in many ways." Derieri considered this. "Perhaps. But there's something else at work here. Something about you." "Me?" "The way you inspire confidence. Even in me." She looked almost surprised at her own admission. "I've spent centuries distrusting, fighting, surviving. Yet here I am, helping defend a village I barely know because." She trailed off, seemingly uncomfortable completing the thought. "Because it's the right thing to do," Naruto suggested. Because you make me believe it's possible, she corrected quietly. You and the Hyuga girl. The admission hung between them, more significant coming from someone as guarded as Derieri. Before Naruto could respond, he sensed Hinata approaching from behind. Anchor training is proceeding well, she reported, joining them at the edge of the monument. All 5 candidates show natural aptitude for the seal work. That's great news, Naruto replied, noticing the fatigue in her voice. You've been pushing yourself too hard, though. You need rest. We all do, Hinata agreed, looking between them. But there's so much to prepare. 2 more days, Derieri reminded them. We need to pace ourselves. They stood together in comfortable silence, watching the village below. Despite the urgency and danger, there was something peaceful about the moment. 3 unlikely allies united in a common purpose, their strange connection growing stronger each day. We should get some food and sleep, Naruto eventually suggested. Tomorrow will be another long day. As they turned to leave, a sudden flare of energy from the direction of the forest caught their attention. It wasn't demonic, more like a pulse of divine power, brief but unmistakable. What was that? Naruto asked, instantly alert. Derieri's expression had gone tense. Something from my world. But not demonic. Hinata activated her Byakugan, focusing on the distant forest. There's someone there, a woman. Her energy signature is, it's like the commandments, but different. Purer somehow. The 3 exchanged glances, immediately understanding the implications. The supreme deity? Naruto questioned. Or one of her servants, Derieri replied grimly. Either way, it seems your entities were right, where darkness gathers, light eventually responds. Should we approach her? Hinata asked. Carefully, Derieri advised. The goddess clan can be just as dangerous as demons, in their own way. Their version of helping often involves purification that doesn't distinguish between demons and those associated with them. Naruto nodded in understanding. Which would include all 3 of us now. They moved quickly but cautiously toward the energy signature, staying alert for any sign of hostility. As they entered the forest, the feeling of divine presence grew stronger, a heavy, overwhelming purity that made the air itself feel charged. They found her in a small clearing, a woman of ethereal beauty with flowing silver hair and eyes that shone with inner light. Wings of pure white extended from her back, and she wore armor of a design none of them recognized. She stood perfectly still, as if waiting for their arrival. Greetings, vessels of divided power, she spoke, her voice melodic yet carrying an undercurrent of authority. I am Elet, Archangel of the Goddess Clan. Derieri visibly tensed. Archangel? I thought you all perished in the Holy War. Many did, Elet acknowledged. But some of us were preserved, for a time such as this. Her luminous gaze moved between them, lingering longest on Naruto. I sense the commandments within you, split between demon and human vessels. Most curious. Why are you here? Naruto asked directly. The Demon King prepares to enter your world, she replied. This concerns the Goddess Clan. The balance between realms must be maintained. You're here to help, then? Hinata asked hopefully. Elet's expression remained neutral. I am here to observe. And possibly to reclaim what belongs to the Supreme Deity. The commandments, Naruto realized. You want them back. They were stolen from us, corrupted by the Demon King. Their rightful place is with the Goddess Clan. Derieri stepped forward, anger flashing in her eyes. And what about us? The current vessels? Would you rip the commandments from us, knowing it would likely kill us? If necessary, Elet replied without hesitation. Divine power does not belong in mortal hands. Or demon hands. She looked pointedly at Derieri. That's not happening, Naruto stated firmly, moving to stand beside Derieri. Hinata joined them, forming their characteristic triangle formation. The commandments chose us for a reason. They're working together in ways they never could before. Ellet's eyes widened slightly at this claim. Working together? Impossible. The commandments are opposing forces by design. See for yourself, Naruto challenged, activating truth and faith simultaneously. Golden light enveloped him, the two commandment symbols appearing on his body in perfect harmony. The archangel's composure faltered momentarily. This defies all known laws of divine power. Welcome to our world, Naruto replied with a hint of a smile. We specialize in the impossible. Ellet studied them more carefully, her gaze now analytical rather than merely authoritative. The three of you form a circuit, she observed, echoing what the entities had told Naruto. Balanced forces in constant flow. Fascinating. Will you help us against the Demon King? Hinata asked directly. Or are you only here for the commandments? I cannot directly oppose the Demon King without the Supreme Deity's order, Ellet admitted. The ancient pacts forbid it. But... She hesitated, seemingly reconsidering her position. I can observe. And perhaps advise. We've created a seal, Hinata explained, deciding to share information despite the Archangel's ambiguous stance. A hybrid of your world's divine power and our world's chakra techniques. Show me, Ellet requested, genuine interest in her voice. Hinata activated her Byakugan and projected the seal pattern into the air using chakra, a technique she had developed just that day to help train the anchor team. The glowing blue lines formed the complex design they had created overnight. Ellet studied it with obvious surprise. This is, remarkably sophisticated. You created this? Hinata did, Naruto said proudly. Her eyes see patterns no one else can. Byakugan, Ellet murmured. But enhanced. Evolving toward divine sight. She looked at Hinata with new respect. Your clan must have goddess blood somewhere in its distant ancestry. This revelation startled all three of them. What? Hinata asked. The pattern is unmistakable, Ellet explained. Your eyes bear the fundamental structure of divine sight, though vastly diluted through generations. Exposure to the commandments has awakened this dormant potential. Derieri gave Hinata a speculative look. That would explain why your eyes adapted so quickly to the divine energies. Hinata seemed momentarily overwhelmed by this information about her heritage, but quickly refocused on the practical matter at hand. Will the seal work against the Demon King? Ellet considered the design carefully. It will not stop him completely. But it will restrict his power significantly in this realm. With sufficient anchors and your combined opposition, you might force him to retreat. That's our goal, Naruto confirmed. We don't need to defeat him, just send him back and seal the passage. The Archangel nodded. Slowly. A wise approach. I see now why the commandments chose you. She straightened, her wings shifting behind her. I will observe your confrontation with the Demon King. If your method proves effective. She paused. The goddess clan may reconsider its position on reclaiming the commandments. And if we fail? Derieri asked bluntly. Then I will attempt to retrieve the commandments before the Demon King can claim them from your remains, Ellet replied with equal bluntness. But I hope it does not come to that. With those ambiguous words of encouragement, the Archangel's form began to shine with increasing brightness until they had to shield their eyes. When the light faded, she was gone. Well, Naruto said after a moment of silence. That was interesting. An Archangel, Derieri muttered, still staring at the spot where Ellet had disappeared. I never thought I'd see one again. They're nearly as dangerous as the Demon King himself. She didn't seem hostile, Hinata observed. Just, coldly pragmatic. That's the goddess clan in a nutshell, Derieri confirmed. They'd burn the world to ash to destroy a single demon, then call it divine justice. At least she's not actively working against us, Naruto pointed out optimistically. And she confirmed our seal design should work. Hinata was quiet, still processing the revelation about her clan's possible divine heritage. Do you think it's true? About the Hyuga having goddess blood? It would explain a few things, Derieri admitted. The Byakugan's ability to see chakra networks is similar to divine sight. And your clan's, let's call it, dignified, bearing has always reminded me a little of the goddess clan. This drew a small smile from Hinata despite her preoccupation. Father would probably be pleased to hear that. Or horrified that our pure bloodline isn't as purely human as he thought. Speaking of your father, Naruto said, suddenly remembering, he's expecting a progress report on the anchor team training. We should head back. As they returned to the village, Naruto noticed a subtle change in their dynamic. The revelation of the Archangel's existence, combined with the news about Hinata's possible divine ancestry, had shifted something between them. They had always worked well together, but now there was an additional layer of connection, a shared understanding that they stood at the intersection of multiple worlds and powers. That night, as they finalized preparations and reviewed tactical plans, Naruto found himself watching his companions with new eyes. Hinata, possibly descended from goddesses, her Byakugan evolving toward divine sight. Derieri, a demon bearing 5 commandments, gradually becoming something neither fully demonic nor fully human. And himself, vessel for 9 legendary beasts and 5 divine laws, transforming into something unprecedented. They were becoming a trinity of power unlike anything either world had seen before. And in less than 2 days, they would face the Demon King himself. The second day of preparation dawned with an unnatural stillness. Birds were silent, animals had fled the forest, and even the air seemed heavy with anticipation. The celestial alignment was approaching, its influence already affecting the natural world. Naruto stood in the central plaza with Tsunade and the other village leaders, reviewing the final defense plans. The 5 anchor points for the Great Seal had been established, with backup personnel assigned to each in case the primary anchor was incapacitated. Once the seal activates, all civilians need to be in the bunkers, Naruto explained, pointing to the evacuation routes on the village map. The seal won't distinguish between combatants, anyone within its boundaries will experience its effects. And those effects are? Ibiki asked skeptically. For humans with normal chakra, minimal, perhaps a feeling of pressure or slight discomfort, Hinata explained. For those with significant chakra reserves, moderate strain but nothing dangerous. For demons, severe restriction of movement and power, Derieri finished. Like trying to run underwater while wearing full armor. Tsunade nodded in understanding. Evacuation protocols are already in progress. By tomorrow morning, only essential personnel will remain in the central district. What about the Archangel? Shikamaru asked, having been briefed on their encounter the previous night. Can we count on her intervention if things go badly? No, Derieri stated bluntly. The goddess clan doesn't help mortals without extracting a price. At best, she'll watch and report back to her superiors. At worst, she'll wait until we're weakened, then try to take the commandments for herself. Another potential enemy, then, Tsunade concluded grimly. Wonderful. Let's focus on the immediate threat, Kakashi suggested practically. The Demon King comes tomorrow. Everything else is secondary. The meeting concluded, and everyone dispersed to their assigned preparation duties. Naruto, Hinata, and Derieri spent the day moving between the anchor points, fine-tuning the seal components and training with the anchor team. By late afternoon, they had done everything possible to prepare. The village stood ready, its barriers reinforced, its fighters briefed, its evacuation nearly complete. All that remained was waiting. As evening approached, Naruto suggested they take a break. We've done all we can. Pushing ourselves to exhaustion now won't help tomorrow. They retreated to the quiet of his apartment, where Hinata prepared a simple but nourishing meal. The domestic routine had become a comfort amid the chaos of preparation, a reminder of the normal life they were fighting to protect. As they ate, conversation was sparse, each lost in their own thoughts about the coming confrontation. Finally, Derieri broke the silence. "We should discuss what happens after," she said, setting down her chopsticks. "Assuming we survive." "After?" Naruto looked up in surprise. "I haven't really thought beyond tomorrow." "That's my point," she replied. "We've been so focused on the immediate threat that we haven't considered the long-term implications of what's happening to us." Hinata nodded in understanding. "You mean our transformations? The changes the commandments and our connection are causing?" "Yes." Derieri's expression was unusually open, revealing genuine concern. "Each day, we become less human, or in my case, less demon. The entities warn that the seal will accelerate these changes. We should acknowledge what that might mean." Naruto considered this seriously. He had noticed the changes in himself, not just in power but in perception and thought. His mind processed information differently now, seeing patterns and connections invisible before. His body had adapted to house energies that should have destroyed him. Even his emotions felt both deeper and more controlled simultaneously. "What are you suggesting?" he asked Derieri. "That we try to reverse the process after defeating the Demon King?" She shook her head. "I don't think that's possible. Or even desirable, necessarily. I'm suggesting we decide what we want to become. Exercise choice in our transformation rather than merely letting it happen to us. Direct our own evolution," Hinata murmured thoughtfully. "That's, actually quite profound." Derieri actually looked embarrassed at the compliment. "It's just practical. Power without purpose is dangerous. We're gaining extraordinary abilities, but to what end?" "Protection," Naruto said immediately, certainty in his voice. "Whatever I become, my purpose stays the same, to protect those precious to me. To protect this village, this world." Hinata smiled softly. "That's always been your way, Naruto-kun. It's why the commandments chose you." "And you?" he asked her. "What will you do with divine sight, Hinata?" She considered the question carefully. "Guidance, I think. Seeing truth and helping others find their path. The Hyuga have always been observers, but too often detached from those they watch. I want to use these eyes to connect, not separate." Both turned to Derieri, who seemed slightly uncomfortable with their attention. "I've spent centuries destroying," she said quietly. "Perhaps it's time I helped build something instead." The simple sincerity of her answer touched Naruto deeply. Derieri had come to their world as an enemy, a demon warrior with a violent past. Yet here she sat, contemplating a future of creation rather than destruction. "We could do it together," he suggested, the idea forming as he spoke. "After tomorrow, regardless of how we've changed, we continue as a team. Not just for Konoha's defense, but to understand these new connections between worlds. To prevent future invasions, from demons or goddesses or whatever else is out there. Guardians of the boundaries," Hinata suggested, her eyes lighting up with the concept. "Using our unique abilities to maintain balance between realms. It would give purpose to these powers," Derieri acknowledged, warming to the idea. "And keep us together." She paused, seeming surprised by her own words. Naruto smiled, recognizing the significance of that statement from someone who had spent so long alone. "Together," he agreed. "No matter what we become." The conversation shifted to lighter topics as they finished dinner, but the agreement hung in the air between them, a promise for the future beyond tomorrow's battle. For the first time since the convergence of powers began, they were looking forward rather than merely reacting to immediate threats. Later, as they prepared for an early night's sleep, Naruto found himself alone with Hinata for a moment while Derieri used the bathroom. Something had been on his mind since their conversation with Ellet, and he finally found the courage to ask. "Hinata, does it bother you? Finding out your clan might have goddess blood?" She considered the question thoughtfully. "It's surprising, but not troubling. In some ways, it explains things I've wondered about for years, why the Byakugan works the way it does, why our chakra has always felt slightly different from other clans. Do you think it's why we've connected so well through all this? Naruto asked. Because you already had some divine aspect within you. Hinata smiled softly. No, Naruto-kun. We connect well because our hearts were already aligned long before any of this happened. She hesitated, then added quietly, I've always believed in you, divine power or not. The simple sincerity of her statement warmed Naruto's chest. Before he could respond, Derieri returned, and the moment passed. But something had shifted between them, an acknowledgement of feelings that had been present but unspoken. As they settled in for the night, Naruto in his bedroom, Hinata on a futon in the spare room, and Derieri on the couch that she had claimed as her territory, Naruto reflected on how much had changed in so short a time. A month ago, he had been a Jinchuriki with big dreams. Now he was part of something larger, connected to 2 extraordinary women and 14 ancient entities, facing a divine battle that would determine the fate of his world. And strangely, despite the danger ahead, he felt more at peace than he had in years. Whatever happened tomorrow, he was not alone. Whatever he became afterward, he had a purpose and companions who understood. With that comforting thought, he drifted into sleep, his dreams filled with golden light and the sensation of flying between worlds. The day of the celestial alignment dawned with an unearthly light. The sky shimmered with subtle distortions, as if reality itself was becoming thin. Konoha stood eerily quiet, its streets empty save for shinobi patrols and the 5 anchor teams positioned at their designated points around the village center. Naruto, Hinata, and Derieri gathered atop the Hokage Tower, which offered the best vantage point to monitor the developing situation. They had awakened before dawn, each having experienced the same dream, a vision of a massive doorway opening between worlds, with a towering horned figure stepping through. It wasn't just a dream, Hinata confirmed, her enhanced Byakugan scanning the skies. The veil is already thinning. I can see, tears forming. How long? Derieri asked, adjusting the lightweight armor she had been provided by Konoha's ANBU division. Hinata focused more intently. The alignment reaches its peak in approximately 3 hours. But smaller breaches are already possible. As if to confirm her assessment, a low rumble shook the village. To the east, a small tear appeared in the air above the forest, similar to the one that had brought Derieri and the commandments, but more stable, more deliberate. Scout forces, Derieri identified immediately. Testing our defenses before the main event. Lesser demons began emerging from the tear, dozens at first, then hundreds. They were more organized than previous incursions, moving in tactical formations toward the village barriers. They're more intelligent this time, Naruto observed. Coordinated. The proximity of the Demon King enhances their cognitive functions, Derieri explained. They're receiving direct guidance. Tsunade's voice came through their communication devices. All units, prepare for engagement. Maintain defensive positions. Do not pursue beyond the barrier perimeter. The village's defense forces moved with practiced efficiency, taking up positions along the reinforced barriers. The specialized squads they had trained positioned themselves at strategic intervals, ready to counter specific demonic abilities. Should we join the defense? Hinata asked, watching as the demon scouts began testing the barriers. Not yet, Naruto decided. We need to conserve our energy for the main event. Let the defense teams handle the scouts. They watched as Konoha's forces engaged the demons at the barriers. The training of the past 2 days proved effective, the specialized squads countered demonic techniques with targeted responses, while the barrier itself repelled most direct attacks. They're not really trying, Derieri observed after several minutes. This is reconnaissance, not a serious assault. She was right. The demons probed the barriers methodically, testing different points and techniques, but never committing fully to breaking through. They were mapping Konoha's defenses, identifying weaknesses for the main force to exploit. After nearly an hour of these probing attacks, the demons suddenly withdrew, something went wrong with this response, please try again. Write the next chapter from here. Draft the upcoming chapter. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.